So if I just go clap and then welcome to Who Dinks Wins from the special pickleball service, I'm going to do that.
That looks good.
Okay.
Yeah, you look great.
Welcome to Who Dinks Wins from the special pickleball service with me, Coach Beresford.
And me, Coach Montgomery.
And me, Coach Philip.
That's not too cheesy. This week we're talking playing under pressure and tips to keep your A game when the yips strike and make you play your Z game. Can we say Z game or is it Z game?
It's Z over
What
here,
are the
isn't
yips?
it? It's
The
Z.
yips.
Yeah, what are the yips you're talking about? What is this yip thing?
It's legendary. Yips are where you get really nervous when you're playing. And
Is that a British thing or an American thing?
I think it's actually an American thing.
Is it?
You must have had the yips on stage.
I have
Have you never had?
yeah,
It's
but
like butterflies, yeah.
I definitely had the butterflies. I don't
Yeah.
remember ever having the yips.
Well, the yips
It's
are
described.
butterflies,
It's
I
just-
think.
Never
Are they?
said.
Oh, they're a little bit more serious and sweaty.
I don't think so. I mean, the yips, you'll hear it. Commentators over here talk
Yeah.
about it all the time.
Yeah.
The yips, you get really, really nervous, and you're serving for the match, and then the world falls to pieces. And when you've
had
seen
that.
that before, where people serving for the match point, you just can't get the ball in.
Pressure.
But what have we all been up to? That's we haven't been here for.
It's been a
Well,
while.
we had an Alzheimer's brilliant episode recorded 2 weeks ago. Anyway, how was your COVID? Talk us through it.
So I don't know when I got it, but I'm pretty sure 80,000 other people got it from me because I actually went to the Oasis concert with it, but I didn't know I had it.
Oh, you didn't get it at the concert?
No, I don't think so because we played at the Taste of Los Gatos. My band had played Taste of Los Gatos in the afternoon, and I felt good. I felt okay. Got on a plane, got down to LA in Glendale, and all of a sudden, my nose started running. I thought, oh, there must be something in there, like allergies. There's something here that I just got allergies. Is what I thought. But then progressively got worse the next couple of days, and went to the concert. Concert was amazing. Oasis were fantastic, but I wasn't feeling that great. And then got on the plane, come back feeling terrible on the plane the next morning, and tested when I got home at noon.
And you had to tell
Thursday, Friday.
people you've been in contact with
Yes.
the previous week.
I wrote to everybody that was at the concert.
There's a couple of guys at the in San Francisco and
Them as well.
two old ladies from Los Gatos.
You're so funny. Yeah.
How was the concert? Was it full of fat, middle-aged men still trying to get into their Fila tracksuits?
Yes, there was that, but also there was them bringing their kids along. So it was a huge generation
Kids
thing.
like Oasis?
I
Do
think
they?
because their parents had said you should come to this. It's going to be
If their parents
amazing.
like it, though, it's going to put them off, isn't it? They're going to hate
It's
them.
not that. I think these guys are the epitome of rock stars because they don't move. They just basically stand there, and you cannot take your eyes off them. They're like,
I'd have to
gosh, it's
disagree.
amazing.
I saw them twice in the 90s at Wembley and at Earl's Court in London, and he just didn't move the whole thing. Just looked up into his microphone, sung every song, and then left. Did not give a monkey's. And I just thought it was a bit of a rip-off.
And I agree. This was so different to that. This was like two guys that were so appreciative of the audience and of what the audience had given them over the years.
And the 10 million for this tour, they probably
For
got.
sure, but they could easily just be on stage and just get on with it and walk off. But it didn't feel like that at all. And also, Liam's voice is so much better than it's ever been. And I've seen him a few, because he toured with The Who for a bit. So I saw him like 6 years ago.
Right.
And then like back in the day. And he's, the drugs and the alcohol are a lot less now or gone. So his voice is a ton better.
And he always looks great, doesn't he? Let's be honest. He looks fantastic.
But it was amazing. Anyway, that was
So
my
Oasis
trip.
are the halfway point between now and the Beatles, if you think about it. Just in terms of years gone. So
Really?
halfway point.
I suppose you're right. 60s before that.
Yeah.
4 weeks. We haven't mentioned what we've been up to. I've been all over the place. I was here. My kids were here, so I went to Tahoe and Yosemite with them. And
I played soccer with Freddie. He was fantastic.
Yeah, he's a great player.
The guys on the other team were going. Todd said to me, Montgomery's son said, I had no idea. I put him on that side, so I thought he wouldn't be that good. He came on with these big old shorts and a cap, and he said, he can't be that good. And then he took over the game.
Yeah, he's fantastic and unbelievably fit as well.
I have to say, actually, there was a very emotive journey 2 weeks ago, and my mother found it particularly hard listening to the episode, actually, because it affected my stepfather so much. And it took her a few days to sort of come up with some thoughts about it, and and then she's listened to it again and hugely thankful that we tackled the subject, and for us for putting it out there, and of course for our viewers and listeners that we are making the comparison between brain health and playing a sport like pickleball is absolutely essential, right? And I talk about it all the time, as in everybody should be doing it because it's so good for us. So the feedback that we've had off that episode, thank you to everybody that's fed back on that, because that's really, really cool. So this was all about tips before we started to try and bring it back into the world of pickleball, playing under pressure. But I did want to mention something about tips before we got into the tips of pickleball.
Tips in this country.
Only
we know how ludicrous it is because we've lived in another country.
Yeah, so it's the boiling frog thing, isn't it? You're just thrown into this sort of boiling water and what the hell? Because tipping has gone out of control here, hasn't it?
Yeah, I used to go to a wine bar in Pimlico, and they said tipping is not a town in China, but which is quite a good joke. But it has got completely and utterly
out of hand.
It has. I mean, I went to a restaurant the other day in Los Gatos, shall remain nameless. They put a service charge on. Fine, pay the service charge. It was about 20%. Then they wanted a tip on top of that. I mean, really, you've got to be joking. That would be like 40% on a meal.
And it's just two of you.
And it was just three of us, actually.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Absolutely diabolical. But
and the pre-tipping thing. So if you go to Starbucks and then they say you can integrate your tip into the payment. So you haven't even got the thing yet and you're tipping, which seems to me crazy. Same with a haircut. So you could go in there as Philip does, looking for a bubble perm, and then he comes out with a Mohican and he's wondering why he's already tipped. Seems crazy.
Actually, I did go to an Indian restaurant in Sunderland once and had to pay in advance of the food, not including a tip. I had to, because they're so used to people running off and doing runners. You had to pay. You had to pay in advance.
I believe that. I spent 5 years there in college.
But yeah, tipping here, I mean, if you've lived in America all your life, it's just accepted.
Yeah.
You don't think twice about it. But, the problem with tipping is that the employers will never have to raise wages. So this will carry on forever because...
Until consumers say enough.
And then they have to pay them properly. At the moment, they're not paying them properly. And they live off tips, and that's completely wrong. There has to be a minimum wage on stuff. I think there is a minimum wage here.
There is a minimum wage.
But I think it's very, very minimum, isn't it? But
it is. But I mean, tips are fine. But I don't mind paying the tip when the service is there. But preemptive tipping seems crazy to me. Anyway, this was the world of pickleball.
No, but I mean, it's worth a discussion, because there are some places as well that make it so difficult not to give you a tip.
Oh, what, the flip around iPad?
No, even giving you a little ticket so you can sign it right in front of the person. And if you don't leave a tip, they sort of scowl at you,
Well, my one is where you pay on this iPad thing.
Yeah, and they swivel it
around, shove it in your face. So everybody in the line behind you can see what you're about to do.
It really is.
And then they also do it. So they do it so it goes highest to lowest rather than lowest to highest. So you go, oh my God, I've just tipped 25% on something I really hadn't wanted to tip.
Well, I've been in a situation, I think it was in San Francisco, where they spun it around and they didn't have a zero. They didn't have a no tip. So you couldn't move on until you've left them a tip. Which is a bit much.
Yeah, that can't be right.
No, that's terrible.
It must have been.
You should have just said the machines for
right.
Some dodgy, tacos bar in San Francisco.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because when I first moved here, just been 6 years, tipping was a huge shock to me, and I couldn't work out how to do it. And then it was cash, right? Back then it was, you had to have dollar bills on you.
Yeah, but that was all right when you used to give the barman dollar bills to make your drink a little bit stronger next time.
True.
That doesn't happen now.
True, but handing out bills to valet, guys taking your car and that sort of thing. But you weren't doing it for Starbucks, things like that. It was only when it became digital in the last 10 years that that started to happen. And so 10 years ago, this was a big discussion because it was starting to happen. So people that normally would go to Starbucks and wouldn't tip, because that isn't a place you would normally tip, maybe in the jar, but not.
But you don't tip in McDonald's, do you?
No, right.
No. So why would you tip in Starbucks?
Exactly, yeah. But sometimes they put a tip jar. But then all of a sudden, it became all the digital thing happened with payments and wallets and that. And all of a sudden people are going, wait a minute, we didn't used to tip. Even the Americans, we didn't used to tip here. Why are we tipping now?
Have you noticed in Starbucks, or Starbies, as my kids call it?
Yuck.
Apparently. Have you noticed they squiggle little smiley faces, or nice to see you, or have you seen all that stuff now with the cups? Yeah,
I quite like that.
I didn't tip the other day, and they had someone saying, "You didn't tip me, you bastard."
They did not.
They didn't. No.
They should do.
That will happen next, probably.
They'll probably just call everybody Mark that doesn't tip. Anyway,
yes.
Sorry about that, everybody.
I did hear that this was a podcast about pickleball, and I wondered whether we
loosely
could
based on
digress back onto pickleball as a main subject about.
Let's do that.
So what we were talking about is, we as players we can play recreational play. We're totally fine. We've got a good game, but when it comes to the moments that matter, it might be a duper rating tournament. It might be an actual tournament. It could be anything. But when it gets slightly more serious, the pressure starts to happen. So what we wanted to discuss in this episode is those tips about playing under pressure, particularly with you, Coach Philip, considering you're the smart one of us from a pickleball point of view. How do you remain calm under pressure?
I mean, surely it depends on the personality, doesn't it? I mean, if you're going to get, if you're sort of always getting stressed out all the time, you're going to get stressed out on the pickleball court.
Yeah,
I don't worry about anything. So I never get stressed out.
The bar is so low for when you start playing anyway. Anything above a whitewashing of bagel is going to be good for you anyway.
Well, I guess also it's who you're playing against, right? Yeah. I mean, like when you and I were playing on our last tournament.
Yes.
Like when we were playing those 20-year-olds, we're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be tough, right?
Yeah.
But then when we played, some of the others were like, yeah, it's just not going to be so bad.
I feel more pressure when I got a partner who's like snorting in the background when I made a mistake, Beri.
Oh, yeah, that can't be good.
That puts you under pressure.
Yeah.
I thought it was very good with you the other day, I have to say.
Yeah.
No?
Well, relatively, yeah.
That's very encouraging.
Like when I walked by and saw you guys playing with Marsh
yesterday, in fact.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I thought you were playing excellent. I mean, I couldn't believe the shoes you were wearing, but I loved your actual play.
They're very, very comfy.
Are they? Yeah. Roger Daltrey was wearing something similar.
Was he?
Yeah.
With correction shoes.
But on this point, this week, I was playing, and somebody said, this lady that I was playing with said, "Can we duper this event? Can we duper this game?" I'm like, then you have to like make a decision. Do I want to do this? Why do I want to duper this? What do I feel is going to be the result of it? Is it going to positively or negatively affect my duper rating? All this comes into play all of a sudden.
Are you sure she didn't say, will you duper me?
The pressure, thank you. The pressure goes up all of a sudden when you all just start doing that. So this is sort of what's happening, right? We were about to play, and then she said, "Can we do duper for this?" And then everyone sort of reluctantly agrees, and then but then
did the quality of the game? Yeah.
No, it changes how you feel about the game for sure. So people start to get nervous.
Probably when you get in your duper rating, you don't try and take so many risky shots. Is that right? Get it back more than.
Yeah, I think you are a bit more defensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're more defensive, but the line calls suddenly become a lot more important. It is surprising how different it is. And then the last game, everyone's like, "Please don't do dupe. Let's not duper this." And it was actually so much more fun and relaxed and almost more enjoyable doing that. But I think if you are going to do a duper game, everyone needs to be about the same level.
Yeah.
Somewhere close to the same level, because when you have that mix of a better player and a not so good player playing in the same game, it just doesn't. It isn't like a handicap where it brings everything even. It makes it worse, if anything, for the one who's not doing great.
Shouldn't there be a handicap system? There should.
I would have thought there should be, right? Yeah. I haven't had that much experience in tennis, so I don't. I didn't come from tennis like most people did into pickleball that have all that knowledge of how they do it in the tennis game. So I'm not.
Do they do
really
it in tennis
sure.
game?
Yeah, I'm not sure. There must be something there.
I've only noticed it in horse racing. That's it.
And your golf game, right?
Golf, yes, golf's a good example actually. Yeah, how you get strokes lead, a lead. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it feels like it should be. We offered it the other day when we played somebody who said, "Why don't we give why don't you have 4 points? You be 4 up from right now." But they didn't want to do it. But I thought actually that maybe is a way you could implement it. by doing like sort of golf, give the other team a certain amount of points up front. But back to what you were saying about when you're in a tournament or something, how do you prepare for that?
You will hit a serve in 98% of the time, perhaps, and occasionally make a mistake. But the minute the pressure's on, right? So you very rarely miss, but the pressure is on. I've seen people, really good players, do it. They disintegrate under pressure. They hit the ball out, or it goes in the net. They try to hit it too hard. They lose their composure. Something happens within in those sort of pressure situations that suddenly makes them go from their A game all the way down to their sort of Z game. They just can't compose themselves, or the pressure of it becomes too much. And don't forget, we play at a very sort of entry level recreational standard. This isn't the equivalent of Wimbledon or something like that. And admittedly, you have sort of sports psychologists working with you if you're a pro athlete.
Yeah.
But what is happening to us, and how should we prepare for those situations? And don't forget, as doubles players, and also just as players in our own right, what are we doing that's different? I mean, so for example, when you've played with me, you've had to sort of pull me up and sort of like, don't worry about it, there's no pressure or whatever, because I've let the pressure get to me, and I don't know why. It's pickleball, it should be fun, and then all of a sudden the fun disintegrates, and I'm starting to take it a little bit more seriously.
Well, I think that's it. I think there is a huge difference between rec play and tournament play or duper play or something for a start, because you suddenly begin to care when you start in there.
You should feel butterflies in a way, shouldn't you?
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
I'm racing cars or karts or whatever. You really gets the adrenaline going. You need that.
Yeah, I think you need that too.
If you don't want to get nervous, then don't.
But the more you do it, the better you'll get it, and managing it. Getting nervous, like going like when I gig or something. If I'm nervous, I know that I care about it. And it sharpens up my thought about what I'm doing. But there's things like visualizing winning, or visualizing
before you play.
How you play, those sort of things.
Spend half an hour visualizing before.
Something like that. Just thinking about, when I'm on the court and the ball comes to me here and they're there, how do I play that shot? Think about how you do that. So going through all those scenarios
and food, I think, makes a big difference as well. You're into nutrition and stuff. What they always used to say, don't eat an hour before you're on a football pitch.
For sure, definitely, because of the digestion. Yeah, I agree with that.
Some people always used to have pasta before they played football.
Carbo loading.
Carbo loading. What do you think? What do you think is a good preparation? Because you can feel nervous through not eating the right stuff, or maybe drinking a coffee just before you get on the court.
I guess it was so individualized. Some people, they need that. They want to have that coffee. They want that up and that jitteriness. It helps them. Other people don't. So I think it just depends on really what you've got to practice and see what works for you. But certainly eating too close to working out is not a good idea.
That's not a good idea,
right? Having a great night's sleep before it would be a good idea, and not drinking too much. All those sort of the obvious things.
Or maybe watching a game of pickleball before you play on YouTube might be all right.
Sure. Yeah. I used to do that with soccer. I used to watch in the morning a game, and then
then realise you're not at all like Glenn Hoddle.
Nothing like it. Yeah. But practicing as well. Practicing going out. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I was doing a lesson yesterday, and this person was struggling with their backhands. And I said, you know what? I practice. I go out there and practice. I'll go out there for half an hour. I take a bucket of balls out, and one of my things that I'm not very good at is a drive from the baseline and trying to get enough topspin on so it goes in. I tend to overhit those. I know I do it. I get excited, and instead of hitting it with a little less pace, I try to get even more topspin, but as much pace as I can put on it. So what I did is I went out the other day with like 200, 300 goes. I just threw a ball in the air and did a double-handed top spin drive from wherever I just threw it up, ran to it, wherever it was, and hit it. Did it again on the backhand. So I did like 200 or 300 balls of these in 30 minutes of throwing up.
You must have looked like a complete lunatic.
Complete lunatic. But then when we played the other day, Marshall commented 2 or 3 times on how great that shot was that I played, and it was that shot. Yeah. It was exactly that. Ball bounced up here, and I double-handed, top-spinned, four-handed it, which I don't normally do in my game at all.
I don't think I've ever known a game where you have to continually practice and continually play to not get worse. I mean, I keep getting injured, which is so annoying. Just
Yeah.
when you think you're doing all right, something else happens and I'm out for 2 weeks and then come back continually. But pickleball, for some reason, you have to really be on it all the time. Football, I mean, it's good to practice for football, but football's a bit like riding a bike. You pick up where you left off, where pickleball isn't, strangely enough.
It's sort of unforgiving, isn't it?
Yeah,
you do.
The margin is less, right?
Also, what I tell people is that it's a momentum game, and I mean that in not just in the game itself. You could be 8-0 down but win 11-8 because the momentum changes, but also the momentum changes during the cycle of the year, right? So there could be peaks that you're having. So June, July could be amazing, then August, September, you're just completely dropping off.
Right.
For some reason, you just go, why can't I hit that shot anymore?
Right.
But it does come back. What I've been doing, I was coaching this morning, and one player, she'd never played before, but she just couldn't hit a serve. And I sort of was looking at her upper body as thinking, well, why are you not doing this? And everything was just tight from her sort of wrist all the way through her shoulder. And I said, this is Sunday morning, right? You're currently playing like it's Friday night and you're at a rave. Sunday morning, you're really lazy, and I just want you to be really languid and just precisely. And it just went in every single time.
Did it? Yeah.
Just change that mindset as well. And I've noticed that particularly my hitting it out, as I try to substitute I suppose elegance for power. I get annoyed with myself and I start tensing up and trying to sort of throttle the ball, smash it. Whereas really, that little shot that I've got now where I can just sort of come towards the net or towards the kitchen and pretty much dink it over, but at an angle, and it's sort of
has a bit of a
sort of kicks as it, yes, and that's just sort of, and it's just taking the time to keep practicing that one thing in every game. I don't go out there with a bucket of balls, but as I'm playing, as I'm practicing with...
You should tell that woman as well, who's tensed up on her arm, just put another layer on her handle.
That's
such a good tip.
You should absolutely just explain that a little bit.
Well, if you have a wider handle, you're going to put less pressure on the grip. It's going to be looser. So it also prevents, as I believe, tennis elbow. It really helps to prevent that.
This is a really important point. So what you're saying is, for our viewers, so this has got 2 layers.
That's got 2 layers. That's my old paddle. Yeah.
Right. So it's slightly thicker than the standard paddle handle. And what he's saying is, instead of you sort of holding it really tight because the handle is small, because there's a layer of tape around it, increases the size of the grip, so therefore you can't grip it as tight.
And less pressure on your elbow.
Less pressure on your elbow, less pressure on your wrist.
Easier to roll your wrists.
Exactly. That's a really, really good insight. Nice one, Montgomery. There you go. You have your uses. You can go now.
I'll leave you now. I've reached my peak.
There's something else I wanted to talk about, but in the tournament thing, on not necessarily preparation for it, but how, when you're playing, the difference of playing tournament or an important game opposed to a rec game. So like in a rec game, when we're playing, you're sort of a little bit looser with the rules. If somebody's not as good on the opponent or even on your team, you give them more grace, you give them a little bit more time. You don't hit the ball quite so hard at them. But then when you start doing the more competitive game, and you wanted to win, and it's really important, then you're focusing on that player, right? That one that you're targeting, that person,
yeah.
Right?
But also with a rec game, don't you think it's a good time to practice as well?
I do.
It doesn't matter if you don't like to lose to someone
but I think you're right.
who you normally beat. It's a really good opportunity to try those passes down the line.
I think so, especially if you're up. So let's say it's 8-2. I think then you really.
But even if you're losing, it's still good time to practice different serves. Or?
It just depends on how you cope with losing.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, I think it's a great idea to do that. Yeah, I think in rec games.
In a tournament, I've only played one tournament actually. It was at the Hub, and we were getting battered. And to bring it round, I forced myself not to do anything flash, just to get the damn thing back each time. Just a change of mentality completely. I was determined to get that ball back. Doesn't matter where it was, particularly just to get it back and not do anything flash. And it turned the game around. We didn't win. We still got battered, but we got like 5 points back.
You and I do that when Beri and I play. When if we're down or the other team is serving, then we sort of say, let's just be super safe and defensive.
Yeah.
With getting our serve so that we can get our serve.
It's boring, isn't it? But
to win
it's
your
effective.
serve, if you just make them make the mistake, let the other guys make the mistake. Let's us just play defensively. Then we're going to serve. Now we can attack as servers. But
we did this properly the other day. It's a bit of a. Well, I'm not going to say who we played, but we played 2 games. Philip and I were together. We lost 2 points in those 2 games. Because we just did everything methodical and weren't trying for the flash stuff. We know that all the points are in the middle of the courts. We just kept it in the middle, allowed them to make the mistakes. Just were completely. It was just, you just took the pressure off and just did it all properly. So it was a really, really good way to practice.
I suppose it is a way to relieve pressure as well, is to just think that this game is a patience game.
It completely is, and that's where the anxiety happens, is when you put yourself under pressure and then you start trying to hit a point that you shouldn't do, or try to close the point early. So if you get into dinking, so I know, so our friend Chris, who was on the show, he knows that I'm impatient, and he knows that I'm going to put it, if we get into a dinking game, he's going to take me to pieces at some point, and then he's also going to hit it at me, and I'm going to get really cross, and it's going to ruin the game for me. But he knows what I'm going to do, and I know that he knows that. And I know that at the minute I try to go for a lob or something like that, they're going to climb out of the sky and just smash it down at me. I have just got to be disciplined on this. And also, what really helps in this situation is that if your partner is reminding you, just stay calm, just stay calm, and if you dink it back into the net, doesn't matter.
It's easier said than done, though, isn't it? Dinking.
It's easier said than the this is the thing, isn't it? The thing that distinguishes a 3.0 to anybody above that is that ability to dink and just stay at the kitchen and just dink it properly. The minute you lose your composure and your patience, that's it. Point's over.
Absolutely.
Part of what you just said, Dan, I think is really important as well, is the support of your partner, and having somebody you're playing with who can tell that you're frustrated or struggling and says the right things at that time and supports you, and also helps in that. I know when you and I are playing, then, and not necessarily always with you, but with anyone I play with, I use the word easy, take it easy, just dink it over, like you were saying, especially when we're struggling, we're on our way back, just to
that brings back your confidence, doesn't it? If you're dinking continually and you're successful at it, it'll bring back confidence.
And I definitely notice when I play with somebody who doesn't tap my paddle in between points sometimes, and is really in their head, I find it difficult to play with those sort of players. Personally, I like
it's very un-British though, isn't it? Tapping paddles and clapping hands. I've had to get used to that here. I do it naturally now.
Right.
But when I first came, I was like, what the hell? What's all this about?
I know, right? Me too. I couldn't understand it. The high fives and the fist bumps and all that back in the day. What's that about?
I've just suddenly thought of something. Could I ask you two guys?
Go on.
When did the turning the paddle round and at the end of the game and touching handles happen? Was it during COVID?
No, it's not. It's because when we tap paddles, thus, you're breaking the paddle.
You're damaging them.
But
you're supposed to slap them, aren't you, on the front?
No, you just tap with a hand.
A lot of people just turn it around.
But you get absolute buffoons that come in and just sort of do this wild sort of chop.
A lot of people just do this.
Yeah, but that's all right.
Is that all right? I
just wonder when I first started playing at the club, right? When I first started playing at the club during COVID, it was all about tapping paddles like this. You'd hold it here and you would do it that. And I kept hitting people's fingers, and I just thought, what are we doing? This is ridiculous. So I said, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that anymore. And I started doing just tap the paddle like that. Or like that, but that was when people's paddles weren't that expensive. When people's paddles started getting more expensive, they're like, I'm not sure about that. So even in between in between points, some people just don't like their paddles being touched, right? So I'll put my hand out. So if this paddle, I'll just tap my hand against it. So it's some sort of recognition, because some just they don't want to do it. But
the whole tapping during a game, though, paddle to paddle,
I like it.
After every point? I mean, or after a good point?
Even if you lose the point.
Even if you lose the point,
I think you have to. I don't think it's every point. I think it is a way of encouraging you and your partner, acknowledging, and like an attaboy type thing. But it doesn't have to be every point, I don't think.
Right. I just find it very irritating. I mean, when you see the volleyball, the beach volleyball, they're always doing this.
Isn't it?
Oh God, get a move, get on with it. Jesus.
What are you doing watching beach volleyball?
I find it engrossing. I don't know why.
Imagine in soccer, if after every good play you ran up to your and all the other players and like shook
Yeah,
hands with
well
him.
done, well done. Who is
do
this?
after a
Who
goal,
is this
don't
little-
you?
After a goal,
Oh, yeah,
but
we
that's
score
it.
a goal. Yeah,
But it's not a proximity sport, is it? Football in quite the same
I know.
way.
I
But
was
there is,
making-
but you
I was
do
making
see if
fun
they.
of it.
Yeah.
Actually, I disagree. You do see a lot of that in games where two defenders, one of them's like high five the other or whatever. You're not going to get the whole team around just for that one header that you did.
Yeah, and it has been encouraged. There used to be a time when during soccer that you didn't celebrate a goal at all. You just turned around and went back to the kickoff
I remember
spot.
that.
And then psychologists got into people's minds and said, if you are all jumping all over each other, it's going to put the opposition off. They're going to think that you're better than them.
My 6-year-old son at the time was told, at Los Gatos United playing soccer, that doesn't matter where you're on the field where the goal is scored, even if you're a goalkeeper at the very far end, you all run together and huddle and sing.
Perhaps you could tell this to our. Perhaps you could tell this to our Saturday team.
Right.
They're absolutely useless, aren't they?
And then get back, but everyone has to huddle and sing a song together.
Our Saturday team are too old to run to the other end of the pitch.
Imagine the song.
And some of them are too deaf to realise we've scored.
Oh,
not mentioning any names.
How.
So
Anyway.
bring it back to tournament play.
Yeah.
Under pressure. So what I remind people of is that this is a momentum game, and you could be, as I said earlier, significantly down, and you are being crushed. Sometimes what I do, and I say this to my partner, I say, look, we're done. Well, we're beaten. It honestly, none of this matters now. Just enjoy the next few points. And sometimes when all that pressure goes, you think, well, I am finished. You can suddenly start creeping back into the game.
That's the same in all games.
Right.
We do that in soccer, don't we? Yeah. For
Yeah.
3-4 goals down, we go, let's just pass it around. Enjoy playing the sport right now. Don't worry.
We always say do the basics.
Yeah.
Do the basics right.
Right.
Then it'll all get better.
And that's important, isn't it? So retaining your game and not playing to their game. So if you get two people that are going to smack it at you really hard,
In
and
football,
you try to
yeah.
compete in that, you haven't got a prayer,
Exactly.
right?
In soccer, the same. If you try and overcompensate for them, you're always going to lose.
Yeah.
You've got to play your own game.
Also, I think there's that thing about 1 point at a time, Let's just play this next point. Don't worry about the end result. Let's do our best at this next point and see how we do, and then move on to the next one.
So you're going into a tournament, so preparation is everything. So you're not going to get no massive amount of coffee the day of. Probably steer clear of the booze the night before.
Yes.
Maybe it's sensible sort of protein salad, that kind of stuff. So you're physically in shape. So when you feel physically clean, you're going to be mentally clean, all of that kind of stuff. Remembering to breathe throughout the
I think
tournament.
that's really important. We didn't really say that, but yeah, I think deep breathing. If you feel those butterflies, deep breathing can really help.
And
you.
deep breathing through the nose, out the mouth. Is that right?
Sure. Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't.
No,
that's
that-
why I've always been
Ideally,
told that's the
yes.
way to do it. Yeah.
And also doing things on your terms. So when it's your serve, don't be under any rush or any pressure. You just remember to take a breath, remind your partner, just take your time, that kind of
I
stuff.
think remember that it's a team sport, right? It's
Yes.
a team, or doubles, obviously, is a team sport. And so it's not all on you, and you can help support your partner.
And you can help support them by not trying to take their shot. So when you can see their game is disintegrating, and also your opponents can see, look, who's the weaker link here, when you start trying to take their shots because you know that they're under pressure,
It's going to make it even worse.
it's going to
isn't
make it even worse,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. And then another thing is, I like the idea of having a pre-point routine, something that you do when let's say you're the server. I do the same thing every time before I serve, whatever that is, but I do the same thing every time. And I do pretty much the same thing every time when I'm receiving a serve. My movement is pretty much standard. I sort of have it down. I know what I'm going to do, and it sort of gets me in focused. And when I don't do it, when there's music on the background, I start singing a song, I start making mistakes. It just helps me focus. So I think a pre-point routine, something that gets you ready, prepared just before the ball starts to be
But not
moved.
Nadal, where he spends half an hour touching his face. And
Not that. Or when some people
You
when they
can if you want.
some people when they serve, they take forever to do it. It's
That's
like
really
goes
very
on.
irritating.
It can be irritating. Yeah. So not that,
yeah.
but something that works for you, that gets you focused, ready to
Yeah,
do it.
yeah, it's a good tip. It's good. We covered quite a
Tips
lot.
and
I think.
tipping. Wow.
Tips and tipping. I know.
Tips and
Do you see what we
tipping
did
all
there?
in all in
What
one
an
episode.
amazing segue.
Yeah, it's almost as though we pre-scripted that.
I know. Love it.
Do you want to take us away?
No.
All right, so Who Dinks Wins is broadcast by KCAT TV on Xfinity Channel 15, Los Gatos and Monte Sereno. Mondays and Fridays at 8 p.m. Also Wednesdays at 6 p.m. I seem to have noticed has crawled into it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
KCAT.org and is a great way to reach a local audience right here in the Bay Area. If you want to sponsor the show or an episode and help support the Los Gatos community who make the shows, reach out to us at specialpickleballservice@gmail.com to find out more. You can follow the show on Apple Podcasts and on YouTube. Just search Who Dinks Wins. And if you can leave us a rating or a comment, we'd super appreciate it.
Please.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me, Montgomery.
It's goodbye from them.
Oh no.
Oh no.
You did it so well.
What well?
Thank you.
The whole thing.
Everybody.
So good.
Yeah,
It's playing under pressure. I was told to look down the barrel and say it in front of a camera, and I suddenly lost my composure and I didn't.
all
breathe
very
and
good.
whatever.
You're amazing.
Yeah. Thank you. So you.